Hey, Uncle Mark.
Yes.
Do you know what the best part of our childhood was for me?
I mean, this could go on all day. I'm just...
It was a delightful, happy time.
Yeah, being a kid in Mormonism was like going to the chocolate factory.
Yeah.
10 years after it had closed.
With scary tunnel movie and all, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. And you got to do that every week. But then...
Yeah.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
If you were so lucky, you got plopped down in front of TV for what some families called pajama church.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And you had to watch you had to have even more time with church.
Yeah.
But it was the most important members of the church. It was the big dogs.
Yeah.
And,
That's right.
And that was somehow special. Well, Uncle Doug, you are... I don't know. Is this a masochist streak that you've decided to embark on?
Yes, kind of. While Uncle Mark was joyously giggling about cryptobiology or zoology, I was in the trenches. I was out on the street pounding the pavement. For some reason, this has become my beat. I don't know why. But
you self-selected this. We have not sent you there.
I did. It's my duty. And sometimes duties can be messy. So as Uncle Dan said, twice a year, Mormons embark on their version of the Hajj, gathering in vast numbers in Salt Lake City to listen to a parade of old men prattle on about a world where unctuous, saccharine, and mayonnaise are the only words in the English language. And as I've said before, these gatherings are utterly pointless and really only cause a dangerous depletion of Utah's strategic sherbet reserves.
We weren't going to talk about the sherbet reserves, Doug. It's our little secret.
That's right. Only we know where the key is.
There's
in
plenty.
The
The vault in the mountain. We've got an entire thing.
This latest pointlessness happened last week, and in the weirdly corporatized language of the Mormon religion, this gathering is referred to as the Semi-Annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah.
Right.
This one being the 189th.
You can shorten it just to conference if you want.
That's what I will do from now on.
I don't know why I think of this, but it's super weird that Mormons tend to fall for mid-level marketing schemes at the rate they do. Yeah,
Right.
I don't know why I thought of that, but I just did.
Right.
Proceed.
Like every conference, this one didn't really have a theme, because how can a loose collection of exaggerated anecdotes and strained metaphors have a theme?
Yeah.
But for a handful of hours on a couple of weekends a year, around 10 million Mormons from all around the world are watching the same thing. So, did the Mormon leadership use this opportunity to rally their flock to take action on the climate or the border crisis, where many of the victims are even Mormon? Did they call on all Mormons to address the climate crisis by making changes in their daily lives? Did they encourage their many millions of followers to do anything of tangible value to make the world a better place at all? Nope. If there was a theme to this asinine assembly, it can be summed up by this joke told by Terrence M. Vinson, quote, "What we need here is less Wi-Fi and more Nephi."
Oh, God.
I saw that online, and I thought it was somebody being cheeky, but he really said that?
He said that. So for our Nevermo listeners out there, right? Nephi is a pivotal character in the Book of Mormon. Yes, we have seen the enemy, and it is social media.
Oh, my God.
But before we dive into the content of the conference, I have a funny story. Since I live only a couple of miles from Mormon Ground Zero, I decided on Saturday to go down to Temple Square and see all the protesters and all the Mormons, just kind of get a feel. I got to the conference center about 15 minutes before the session ended, and the police had blocked off the entire street for a whole block. And there were heavily armed police everywhere. It was like Manchester United was going to play Arsenal.
Why would they? Why?
I don't know. It was heavily. I don't know if there was a threat or something. I don't know.
No, it's always like that.
Yeah. So of course those super wiggy evangelical protesters were there. The ones you see at every gay pride parade with their giant signs that say things like "Sinners, Mormons, atheists, abortionists, heretics, all go to hell."
Yep.
To which I could only worry that I was on that list like 4 times.
Doug, you can do better than that.
Yeah,
gotta get some more points on the board.
I'm going for the whole list.
Yeah.
I was walking past a couple of these guys, and one of them asked me if I read the Bible. And I said, "Actually, I do." He said, "Hallelujah, salvation, brother." I couldn't help myself, so I said, "Well, it's not working because I'm an atheist."
You dumb idiot.
I took the
you
bait.
Engaged.
So we got into a very friendly discussion about God, and he got onto a jag about how DNA and the first law of thermodynamics prove the existence of God.
Wave off. Wave off.
I disagreed.
Wait a minute, this is one of the screamers you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm talking to this screamer guy. We're having a conversation. Like there's no Mormons around because conference is still on. It's about to let out. And at one point, he said that DNA was in the Bible. And I'm like, I need to see that.
Yeah, show me.
So he grabbed...
Technically, he's right. Those 3 letters do appear in the Bible several times.
Yes.
And I've definitely seen Bibles that have DNA in them.
I have deposited my own DNA in the Bible.
I don't believe that for a second.
So I said, okay, I got to see that. So he grabbed his Bible and started trying to thumb through it to some psalm or something. But he was struggling to get through his Bible and hold his giant sign at the same time. So I said, here, I'll hold on to that for you. And he handed it to me. So there I was, standing outside Temple Square with a giant anti-Mormon sign.
Did you get a picture of it?
No, I didn't. He would have done it.
Dummy.
He totally would have done it. But I thought to myself, well, my life has come full circle. I was really hoping. Happened. Yeah, right. I was really hoping I'd see somebody I knew, but anyway.
Yeah, you peaked. You pinnacled right there.
Right. So, without further delay, let's get into the heat of the meat. Before every conference, there are rumblings on Mormon Twitter and Reddit that this time something really big is going to happen. And although it never does, it only makes the anticipation more acute.
Yeah.
This conference was no exception, with Mormon general authorities teasing something big. Uncles, prepare to be disappointed. Well, we'll get into the furious reshuffling of the deck chairs in a minute, but first, I want to introduce some of the spiritual heavyweights that spoke at this cocked-up caucus. But because Uncle Dan is a stickler about copyright issues, I can't play Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project.
That's right.
But I want all of our listeners to pause this podcast, open Spotify, and cue up that song.
Okay.
Go ahead. We'll wait. Okay. Here we go.
It's not only Uncle Dan, it is also our lawyer, P. Andrew Torres, who told you not to do that.
That's right.
So just to be clear.
All right, listeners, hit play now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 189th General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now let's meet the starting lineup for your Mad Men of Mormonism, featuring speeches from the likes of Brooke, Never Fails Hales, Dieter Donkey Dong Uchtdorf, Stephen Rock and Roll Holland, presided over by Dallin the Hammer Oaks, with special appearances by the man himself, Russell the Muscle Nelson.
Wait, you didn't end that with "Let's get ready to Mormon."
Let's get ready to mumble.
All right, everybody, stop playing the music.
Oh my God.
So I watched the entire conference because that's how much I care about
I got to
you.
turn the smoke machine off. 1 sec. It's like I can't even see my computer.
Can I just interject just really quickly? Sorry, this is totally off subject, but I just Googled protesters Mormon General Conference and then hit the image search because I wanted to see some of their signs. And the 5th image is me. When I went for Thank God I'm Atheist, and I was holding up a sign that said, "Ask me how much fun I've had since I realized God is fake."
That's awesome. So you're there, but Doug isn't.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
we
sorry.
got to rectify that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched the whole thing because I care that much about you, dear listeners. And it was
there's Dan. Yep, sorry. I'm just Googled it. There he is.
Everybody
standing
Google it.
next to a bagpiper. Of
I
all
am
things.
indeed. That's true.
You're standing danger close to a bagpipe.
That's right. It was watching conference. It was impossible to stay focused. Confession: when at work, I really need to buckle down on something. I'll often put on ambient electronic trance music on Spotify. And Mormon conference is kind of like EDM. It's droning, repetitive, impossible to distinguish from itself, and ultimately useless.
And would be improved with the presence of a glow stick.
Exactly. But I tried. And I found that if I didn't write something down that someone said immediately, it would fade from my memory within seconds.
Yeah.
Like a bad dream.
I think it's designed like that.
I think so, too.
It bounces off of you and then knocks you unconscious.
And I just want to take a second to talk about the organ. Can we all agree that this organ is nothing more than a hoax by Big Organ to keep the stock price inflated?
You just said big organ.
There are 5 keyboards with buttons underneath each of them, 2 preposterous panels of stops on either side, and fucking pedals. I would believe that any of those things had a purpose if any 2 hymns sounded different. It's all one fucking song.
It's easier to operate the Millennium Falcon than that fucking thing.
I feel like Rowdy Roddy Piper and They Live. It's a hoax, people. The organ is a hoax. Okay. All right, moving on.
What are all those pipes about then?
That's just bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's a fake.
My cousin's an organist. For fuck's sake, guys. Read a symbolism.
Okay, so let us talk about the choir for a second. Being one of the only musical acts besides Three Doors Down to play at President Trump's inaugural, they have also played for the inaugurations of Nixon, Reagan, and both Bushes. So there's that.
There you go.
They are a group of 360 people that are best viewed from a distance. From a distance, they have a definite North Korea vibe going on, which is at least impressive. However, close up, they are a steady on early onset diabetes and eczema. And throughout their performances, the camera would push into what I assume were the pick of the litter to an uncomfortable proximity. Anyway. And they all do that thing that people do who are not just singing, but selling, where they have that insane wide-eyed faux passion that just makes your skin crawl.
Yeah.
Anywho.
You're talking about the choir formerly known as the Mormon Tabernacle
that's right.
Choir.
It's the choir at Temple Square. Now.
Yeah, the choir at City Creek Mall, Inc. TM. I always, not to interrupt you, Doug, but I always notice that they assiduously push in on the 2 or 3 choir members of any color other than
that's
absolutely right.
Northern European white.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even if one of them went on a vacation and is particularly tan that week, they'll
It's like the Republican National Convention. If you're black, you are going to be featured.
You're getting on TV.
So the individual speeches were of zero value and unremarkable in every way. I mean, you did have David A. Bednar meandering through a metaphor about cheetahs on the savannah, complete with an accompanying cartoon. Dieter F. Uchtdorf unironically quoting The Hobbit and Harry Potter, both works of imagination far superior to the Book of Mormon.
And witchcraft.
That's right. There was one true milestone that only serves to reiterate the retrograde nature of this religion. Elder Peter M. Johnson from New York became the first black person in the 189-year history of Mormonism to speak at General Conference.
You're saying that they've now got a general authority who both of his names are a euphemism for penis?
That's right. And his middle name is Member. Yeah, he's the first black person. There have been a smattering of Asians, Pacific Islanders, and Hispanics that have had that honor, but never an African American. It's 2019.
Yeah.
Apparently, racial progress for Mormons is a lot like getting into a hot tub. Yeah. You do it very slowly. And did Elder Peter M. Johnson give a stirring speech about all his unique perspectives on race and address the fact that all the other ambulatory corpses seated behind him were sitting exactly there when he would not have been allowed in the building? Nope. He just gave another anodyne regurgitation of banal talking points that could have been delivered by any Mormon at any other conference. But, progress. By and large, it's hard to emphasize the utter lack of meaningful content on display. I watched entire speeches and instantaneously forgot what was said, who was speaking, and how my life had come to this.
It's impossible. I'm with you, Doug. It's impossible to focus on it. The times that on TGIA, Dan and Frank have asked me to do a conference thing with them. If I cannot give it 100% of 5 fat rails of Adderall attention, I cannot. It just slips down the cracks of my brain and it's gone. Like a storm brain.
Passes you like a breeze. It's crazy.
A lot of it is due to the this has gotten a little bit better since we were kids, but there is the Mormon General Conference cadence.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is like coma inducing. My dear brothers and sisters,
I don't think
this beautiful day we come before you.
It may not be intentional, fully cognizant of why they do that, but I think the effect of it is remarkable. I think it does kind of put you into a hypnotic state. And so that's why else continue it?
Right.
Yeah, then you've got, for a week and a half afterwards, you've just got Mormon zombies who are absolutely convinced that they heard something gorgeous and beautiful and faith affirming, and then they sort of shake out of it and go about their daily lives after that.
That's right.
Yeah.
There were, however, some policy changes that were announced, so let's dig into that.
Oh, goody.
The first one was actually teased out a week ago to help pump up the hype. Going forward, I know, right? Going forward, women can now be witnesses for baptisms and sealings. That's right.
How about
something
that?
for the ladies?
Oh yeah. And the thing that they now have authority to do is watch.
That's right. So
they get to see a thing.
A little background for our Nevermos out there. Mormons believe in baptism by immersion. That is to say, in order for it to be valid, the victim must be completely submerged. This is so important to Mormons that at every baptism there are 2 witnesses present to ensure that your toe doesn't pop out, imperiling your immortal soul.
Yes.
Or even your clothes, right?
That's right.
And you're in clothes.
And it's so important.
This is why they should do it naked.
Done.
Because the clothes could float up and ruin it.
If you were surprised to learn that women were not allowed until now to fulfill this crucial task, you are not alone. Like so much of the church's attempt at modernization, it only serves to remind everyone how backward they truly are.
Yeah.
So enjoy, ladies. You are still considered second-class citizens and expected to serve as humble helpmeets and mobile uteruses to your husbands, but at least now you can get closer to a ritual dunking.
Well, I think you guys are kind of bullshit laughing at this. I think this is what the suffragettes were fighting for, right? Is the ability to stand there and make sure somebody gets fully wet.
That's right.
It only took 100 years.
That's right. Then on Sunday during the final session, all of the changes came fast and furious. A little warning to our listeners: those of you who know nothing about the Mormon Church are going to think that I'm having a stroke, and those of you who are familiar are about to be triggered. So here we go. Here are all the changes announced. A new young women's theme was introduced, and I will not read it except to say that it was clearly written by men and written in a corporate boardroom.
Yeah.
Young men presidencies at the ward level will be discontinued and their responsibilities folded into the bishopric.
How about that? Huh?
The names
That's
of the young
one.
women's groups Beehive, Maya Maid, and Laurel will be discontinued. Each young women's group will have a class presidency. The terms mutual and auxiliary in reference to certain church organizations will no longer be used.
I'm going to correct you. The word is mutual.
Mutual. Various responsibilities of various church organizations, too granular to bear mentioning, will be shuffled around. Young men's presidents, along with stake Sunday school presidents, will now be members of the Stake High Council. The temple worthiness questions that we covered back in episode 89 were changed, but the changes were so marginal that I couldn't find them.
Yeah. Can I just interject here and just say, for those of you who are not following any of this, which is everybody, I need you to understand, I had Mormon friends on Facebook after this all was announced going, what did they just say? Right. I understood literally none of that, and they're Mormons.
Right.
So as meaningless as this is to you, it was equally meaningless, or at least confusing, to the people for whom this was supposed to make sense.
You know what this is like, guys? Is so this new quote unquote prophet Russell M. Nelson has come in with a flurry of what he calls revelations that are the equivalent of, if you've ever seen David Miscavige talking about how they found 78 syntax errors and mispunctuations in Dianetics, so everybody has to buy the whole set again.
Right.
And everybody's cheering and excited. Like, this is literally, there was not an Oxford comma in the right. It's such nothing.
Yeah, utterly
and I guess
nothing.
that's the best. As long as they're busy doing nothing, maybe less people get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And so, if you're concerned out there that no organization can make such consequential and important changes in a matter of mere weeks, don't worry. They've given themselves until January 1st, 2020 to get all this done.
Okay, good.
Wow.
So I can still call a niece a Maya maid
for a few more months.
Or a beehive, a human being known as a beehive.
Or a laurel. Yeah. The fuck is that?
Yeah.
Okay, to wrap up this review, in his concluding remarks, Church President Russell M. Nelson already got the hype going for the next General Conference in April, which will be the 200th anniversary, depending on the version you're using, of Joseph Smith's first vision, ushering in the age of Mormonism. Of that conference, he said, quote, General Conference next April will be different from any previous conference. In the next 6 months, I hope that every member of every family will prepare for a unique conference that will commemorate the very foundations of the gospel that has been restored to us. There you go. Unless that next conference is broadcast from a departing spaceship, I call bullshit.
Well, I'm suddenly thinking you recapped the wrong conference. You should have waited.
Well, I'll be here for the next one.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
God
get
willing.
your tickets now, right? I mean,
Right.
It's going to sell out.
All right.
God. Well, I don't know if I should say thank you, Uncle Doug. So instead, I'll just say, shall we move on?
Well, it's like so many of our segments are really, truly about nothing. And this one is no different. So,
Hooray.
let's move on.